My name is Alyssa, and this is
Juliana.
And today we just wanted to sit down and chat about our siblings and our relationships with our family and kind of how they shaped us.
I think an important thing to start with is which child are you and how many children?
Yes, okay. So I am number 4 of 5.
And I am number 3 of 7.
Wow, that's a lot.
We all know cliches, the oldest and the youngest and then the in-between, but what happens when you're not quite in the middle?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily consider myself like a middle child. There's a pretty big gap between me and my youngest sibling. Like, we're 6 years apart. So I was the youngest for 6 years, so I was kind of spoiled. But then, they came along, and I wasn't the youngest anymore, but I wasn't exactly the middle child. What about you? How is it being like one of the older ones?
I definitely tried to hang out with my older siblings a lot more than with my younger siblings at first, because I thought they were cooler and because I thought my younger siblings were annoying. I did take care of my youngest sister a whole lot when she grew up. She's the only one I remember, being a baby. And I loved taking care of her, absolutely adored it. So she was definitely a very special child to me. What drew you close to your siblings? What did you guys connect the most on?
Yeah, I think I have a different relationship with each of my siblings, but especially like when we were younger, we would play games together all the time. I remember we used to like make up games all the time. The oldest one, not as much. They kind of were in their own world a little bit. One time we played a version of like Luigi's Mansion, because it's like a video game. So we would pretend that we were like Luigi in the mansion, and there were all these ghosts, and we would like try to vacuum them up, and we would like turn off all the lights and like hide around the house. It's basically like hide and seek, but with ghosts.
Right.
Yeah. And I remember one thing that was like very prominent for us was we would play with water balloons a lot. So so much so that we like use them as currency to like trade for things.
Wow.
Although I definitely tried to cheat and like give them the not great water balloons, but I got in trouble for that and I stopped after a while.
Oh, that's funny. Did you guys have a house with a backyard? And
yeah, we did.
Did you play a lot outside?
Well, sometimes we weren't. I wasn't allowed to go outside by myself. So sometimes like they were busy, but we did like ride our bikes a lot, and we like all had like roller skates. We had a basketball hoop. We would play basketball. I tried to be a tomboy for a little bit, and I tried to like play basketball, but they were like always more athletic than me, like super competitive and like always trying to beat them. One of the things that me and my siblings were like we were all into, we all went through this phase of like being like really into taking pictures. So like we had like our little like cameras, and we would get disposable cameras all the time, and like I have so many pictures that are just like random of like people around the house just like hanging out. My brothers would do this thing where they would like walk around the house without shirts on. Except for the youngest one. The youngest one, especially when he was like 2, 3, he would walk around the house without pants on. And I'm just like, why? Why are you like this? I mean, I guess they're boys and they can do that, but like, why?
I guess so. Yeah, I think as we're more girl dominant in our family, with only 2 boys, it was close stayed on.
Yeah.
In fact, we would try to dress up our brothers a lot of the times. If we wanted, like we had a closet full of dresses that people gave us, like the really like childish ones, the ones that we all wore. Anyways, we'd like dress up as pilgrims, or like when we were reading the the Little House on the Prairie series. We had bunk beds, so we'd cover one side, and we had covered wagon, and we'd have like a horse head on a stick, and we had an old cowboy hat, so my older brother would like dress up as the father, as Pa, and the rest of us would put on our dresses, and we would make the pillows look into like chickens, and we had chickens, and we had like a whole kitchen set, and we'd sit down at some point, make a fire, and it was great. Whenever we like created stories, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we used to make like forts, like blanket forts with like boxes. I kept a fort in my room for like years, and like I would sleep in it every night on the floor. And one time we turned like my brother's room, because like it had a huge room, and we turned their entire room into like this huge like fort maze kind of thing, and we would like just crawl through it like hamsters.
Oh, that's great. We had we don't have a dryer, so we had clothes racks. So a lot of time when the clothes were there, or we would like cover it with a blanket, but a lot of times we'd make it into tents and whatnot.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because one time our dryer broke for like a good like year or two, so we would hang up a clothesline across the hallway, and that's how we dried our clothes, and we would put like have an indoor clothesline. So what is something that you learned, or some things that you learned from having siblings that you don't think you would have learned if you were, say, an only child?
I learned a lot about responsibility. This is a trend I noticed because a lot of my siblings had a lot of friends that were only children, and they tended to like not understand that their actions had consequences. Our actions had consequences, but also like being in charge of things gradually. I definitely, personally, when I was younger, I was definitely bossy boots. I admit that. I was not great all the time. In fact, I was a very horrible sister. I'm sorry. If you guys are watching this, I'm very sorry. Please forgive me. But I think besides a sense of like natural consequences that come with like saying certain things or doing certain things, learning to be very creative with each other and with things that we did, because we come bored very easily. So making up games or playing Legos with each other, Polly Pockets or whatever. What about you? What's a couple things that you might have learned?
Yeah, I think one of the things I definitely learned is like how to like live in a community. You know, when you have siblings, something you learn, especially if you're very different than you, is that you can't control other people. Things don't always go your way. So I think in a lot of ways, it prepared me for like the real world, because there's a lot of people who are very different than you and like who have different perspectives. But you can still like find ways to relate to each other, find ways to work it out, find ways to work together. It also cured me of being overly sensitive because I used to take everything personally, which is not fun when you have a bunch of older siblings who make sure that you do.
There were times where I would have like little birthday parties, and we might have like a person or two that were outside, like that you know, I had considered friends, and if I lost certain games, I would get really upset. Yeah. And my siblings were like, grow up.
Oh, I was such a poor sport. Like, not only was I like a poor loser, but I was a terrible winner. Like, I was so full of it. And then like I cheated like crazy. Because like I was so competitive, and like I wanted to win so bad, like that I would just like try to cheat.
Especially on games that I wasn't good at. I was like, I have to prove myself somehow.
Yeah.
Right. It didn't work.
No, it didn't.
You know, don't do this at home. Don't cheat on your siblings. But
and I'd like to clarify that I'm no longer like that. No, like I went completely the other direction, like as far as like cheating. So like whenever I would like take a test just to make sure like there's no way I could possibly cheat, I would literally like take my glasses off and put them to the side because they're like, so like there's no way that I'm cheating.
You can only focus on right here.
Right.
Yeah. Siblings will really tell you what life's about.
Yeah. They make you see things about yourself that you wouldn't otherwise. And they definitely challenge you to face your own flaws.
Yeah. I have a sister that we, especially the last few years of being at home in high school, we butted heads a lot. She was becoming a teenager. I was, still going through it, and still am, honestly. But we butted heads a lot, and then only after I had like some type of separation from her coming to college, I realized, oh, we were very alike, and most of the parts that I really like disliked about her, like, that the reason I butted heads a lot was because we were very similar in those ways, in those characteristics, and like so yeah, you really get a different perspective. But they also bring out good things in you too, like, oh, I didn't know I could be this type of person.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing about siblings is like no matter how long it's been since you've seen them, like there are always some things that like only your siblings will understand about you, and like there's like me and my siblings, like when we get together we have like all these references to things like way back in our childhood that like no one else would like get, but like you could always count on them to get the reference.
Yeah. You've definitely done that too. You'll say reference and I'll be like, I don't know. I'm assuming that's one.
And like all those like YouTube channels that we used to watch, like it's more likely that people will get those references, but like my siblings get them like no one else. And it's like it's really cool because like sometimes like we'll be apart for a while, and then like you don't realize the things that you say or do, and then you're back around them and like they say and do the same things, like, oh wait, that's where that came from.
Did you ever wish your siblings would just disappear? They just go away?
No, I mean, me and my siblings didn't get along a lot. Like we fought like crazy, especially with like the one right above me. Like I remember one time I like jumped on his back and bit him. So we'd fight all the time, but I would not trade them for anything. Like, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah. I don't think I would trade my siblings for anything. I definitely, like you said, fought a lot with them, but I think there were moments because we didn't really have personal space.
Yeah.
That I kind of wanted, like, would love those moments when there would be like no one in the house, would be only me, and those happen very rarely. So just like having a space for yourself didn't always happen for us. I think, which is why we slammed a lot of doors in each other's faces.
Yeah, we weren't allowed to do that. We weren't allowed to slam the doors. We weren't allowed to lock the doors. Yeah, but I wouldn't be like the person I am without my siblings. And like through up and down, like they're so much a part of like who I am that like I would never give that up.
Yeah. Same. In conclusion, we love you and we're embarrassing you. Well, thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again soon.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
Right. You want to see more videos like this?
Yeah, just let us know what else you would like us to talk about, and we'll try to
talk about
answer your questions if you have any. Thank you.